All right, so we're just going to carry on with this one. I think this one here, this little series,
prices are kept low, and on the back of every
I might
rice
have it
and
in my
soap powder
playlist.
packet are printed people's rights under the Constitution.
I think I
Does it
watched the
really
whole
mean
series.
something to
There's
you
10
to
of
see
them.
it there?
We're on number 2 here.
Yo no sabía lo de que teníamos
You know,
derechos como cualquier otro.
you have to be prepared to sit there sometimes and listen.
Número 23, ¿verdad? Que nos habla de la política nacional y
There's
legislación.
the ad. Let's just move the ad.
Esto por lo menos nosotros nos instruye.
Democracia,
Yes, I seen this
lo
one.
dije hace un rato, delante de nuestro
This guy
pueblo.
is a leader.
Como dijo Lincoln, son definiciones sencillas.
I
Ahora,
think
lo
he
difícil
tried
es
to,
llevarlo a la realidad. Aquí
you know,
estamos
distribute some
llevándolo a la
wealth a little
realidad.
more
Gobierno del
evenly
pueblo,
among his people.
por el pueblo y para el
I
pueblo.
think he's from Cuba or something
Una
like that.
sociedad de incluidos y de iguales,
Hugo
donde no haya exclusión,
Caza.
donde
Now,
no
I'm
haya
not like
miseria,
very politically with this stuff, right?
donde reinen los valores humanos.
But I did watch this series, and I'm pretty sure it's in my playlist as
For some
well.
of his supporters, Chavez has not gone far enough. Familiar obstacles remain from the past, a stifling bureaucracy and widespread corruption.
Which we have.
And although poverty
Everywhere.
has fallen dramatically in recent years, it's far from eradicated. When
This was
You
April
drive in
23rd,
from the
2009.
at Caracas, the one thing that shocks a first-time visitor are the barrios, the numbers of poor people. Why is it in Venezuela, which earns so many billions of dollars in oil money, that there still is this poverty in spite of all the changes you've made?
Que los pobres de Venezuela siguen siendo pobres, sí. Yo siempre les digo, no queremos ser ricos. Nuestro objetivo no es la riqueza material. Es vivir dignamente, claro, salir de la pobreza
you can
y
highlight-
salir de la miseria sobre todo.
That's nice.
Y vivir,
If for some reason you can't
vivir
read the fine
dignamente.
print, you
Ese
can
es el
always
objetivo.
highlight.
No convertirnos
I don't
en
think we're going to be
millonarios,
able to do that on
the
our new
American way
pages.
of life, no.
I think
Eso,
all
no.
this stuff is
Es
going to be wiped out.
imbecilidad.
Again,
Eso te lo
wiping
digo
out
un poco para-
information, making it hard to
porque
connect dots,
el tema de la
you know,
pobreza
making it hard
es un
to
tema
use your critical
al que somos
thinking
muy
skills,
sensibles, y
making
es
it
el que nos
hard
lleva
to put
la
things
mayor
into the
parte
subconscious
de
mind
nuestra lucha de
so
todos
that
los
you
días.
can be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. You know, the dumbing down of a
The
society,
daily
social
struggle is
engineering.
made easier here. 10 years ago, this clinic would not
And somebody
have been
clued
dreamed
into
of.
that. You know, somebody
Now,
knows
all
that.
over Venezuela, ordinary
Right.
people have free health care.
And this is not what
Many
they want
seeing
you
a
to
doctor
have.
for the first time in their lives.
Right?
Un documental sobre Venezuela. Perdona la interrupción.
They don't, you know, just leave it alone. Poverty of the mind. Let's not worry about these
For the
people.
first time,
You know,
children
out
of
of
the
sight, out of
poorest
mind. If we
have a
don't know
full
about
day
it,
at
and even if
school
we
and
do,
at least one hot meal
you know,
a day.
right?
They're learning history and music and dance.
Well, why should it
often for the
affect
first
us?
time. And all
It's
of
their
this is
problem.
free.
It's not our problem. But it's a systemic
Under the
problem, so it becomes
Constitution,
everyone's
The
problem.
poorest housewives are now paid as workers.
What I'm doing is I'm taking you out of that mind state of poverty of the mind. I'm reinforcing that no matter what happens, we're not going to forget, okay? And we're not going to submit to social
Those now
engineering
close to full
where we
literacy,
accept,
thanks to classes
you know,
like this,
accept
catering to those like
the
Mavis
entitlement
Mendes,
mentality to the
age
point where
95, now reading
where,
and writing for the first time.
we ourselves feel like we can't make a difference because, you know, we accept this as just, you know, another 100 years of, you know, accumulating poverty, right? We need to start reversing it today, not in 100 years from now. So let's go back into the playlist here a little bit. There's an ad up there, so I don't know why they always advertise these games. You know, I'm not a
This is
promoter
East
of these
Caracas,
things, but
home to some of the wealthiest people on earth. and what they call here the middle class.
The middle class.
I dropped in on John
The
Vink,
entitlement
who
mentality,
agreed to show
poverty
me
of the
around
mind.
his grand
Even the
house.
rich can have stuck on poverty on the mind. Like I said, I live in a $1 billion community, but you can't even get a dollar.
Yes, you've been here.
And the one that gives
long,
you the
have
dollar
you?
has the least to
This is
give
the family home.
in a $1 billion community.
John Vink has travelled the world collecting objets d'art.
You need to listen to the house for that one.
The silverware, chandelier. Is that-
House 13,
That
right?
one I brought from Spain.
Yeah.
This is a collection of dark blue. That's why I have them over there so they don't break. This is from Peru.
So I have those in my playlist.
you're-
I don't
you're
know if
thinking
anyone
you
will ever be able to find them.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well,
But-
the situation of the country.
You know.
It's getting day by day worse.
Let's see what else he's got here.
So,
In what way? Can you?
Yeah, they still got that ad up there.
This gentleman that's now in power, that he would change the whole situation because it was a mess.
Here, let's try this one.
My name is Rabbi Chaim Lefkowitz, and I'm coming from New York, Parkland County. We came here with many Jews, rabbinical
Again,
leaders,
you can't see.
political scholars,
You can just highlight.
to state the true voice of
A little
Judaism
easier to
that
read.
it's hardly heard throughout the world in these days. The reason for it is very clear for people who know and unclear for people who don't know. Unfortunately, after the so-called Holocaust, most of our rabbinical leaders got perished.
Very
in the
nice.
war.
No tables.
And the Zionist leaders, they took over the power of the name, of the true name of the Jewish people. When in fact, Zionism in basic is an atheistic, nationalistic movement extremely opposed to the basic faith of Judaism. Especially the way how Jews need to behave in exile. We are a nation in exile already 2,000 years. Never. What you saw here is a very perfect example of what's going on in these days. You see like a fellow
April 20th, 2009.
without his religious faith on him, just calling himself a Jew.
Well, this is consumerism, okay? And I've seen some videos around this that, you know, get into the
It is a
history
story everyone knows.
of
After a rude
No.
refusal by a local
other
innkeeper,
people's opinions,
Mary
right?
and Joseph bedded down in a barn in Bethlehem. The next day, Mary gave birth to a son, the Son of God. Those are the biblical origins of Christmas. But centuries before Jesus walked the earth, early Europeans were celebrating light and birth in the darkest days of winter. In the Norse country, this winter celebration was known as Yule. Around December 21st, the winter solstice, fathers and sons would drag home the biggest log
mouse
they
is
could
not working
find
here.
and set it on fire. The Yule log warmed, but it also looked ahead. Each spark was said to represent a pig or calf to be born in the spring. Also dragged inside were evergreens, the one plant that could make it through a Norse winter. Evergreens proved that life persisted in this dark time. For as long as the Yule log burned, about 12 days, feasting and revelry reigned
Right.
supreme.
I seen
In fact,
another
this was
video
one of the few times
around
that meat was
around
abundant,
this.
since cattle had just been slaughtered for the long winter.
but
There is a necessity to kill most of the cattle, but there is an opportunity for a
again,
great blowout,
this
a
is
great
for,
feast
you know,
type of
people
party.
to use their critical thinking skills and to, you know, go into
The
things with
party
an open mind,
raged inside in different
right? So we're going to go on to another page here. Okay. We're going to get into what's happening today in terms of Fukushima radiation. Here, I think I pulled up one.
Japan's crippled nuclear plant is getting ready
This
for a
one's Milky the
40-year
Clown.
decommissioning
She's going to be
program.
retiring
The
very
first
soon.
step will be removing spent
Because, you know,
fuel
it's
rods.
arduous work. It's very draining. Just even what I'm doing is, you know, very
Tokyo
draining.
Electric officials showed underwater video from the spent fuel storage pool in the number 4 reactor building. They say the spent fuel rods don't look damaged. The number 4 reactor was offline during the disaster last March. A hydrogen explosion a few days later caused debris to fall onto the rack containing the spent fuel rods. But the debris did not damage the fuel rods. Tokyo Electric
Many,
says
many hours of
visibility
community
in the pool is
activism,
about 5
you
meters.
know, trying to educate, give people the choice to make the decisions for themselves. This is information that I wouldn't even know where to find it. Right? Never mind put it together. Right? So I admire this lady a lot. I think she's done a good service for the community, you know, as a whole.
The U.S. stopped building nuclear plants
And, you know, once they wipe out her page, it's going to be very, very hard to
the U.S. unit of Japan's
be able to get this
Corporation.
information.
Construction could begin as early as this year. The reactor is
Right,
expected to
which
start
is
operating in 2016.
what
Serious, sometimes fatal
elite
events,
want.
including infections,
You know,
tuberculosis,
they don't want
lymphoma,
people
other
to know
cancers,
about
and
this.
nervous system and
They
blood
want us to
disorders have
forget.
occurred.
Only there's some of us out there that
Japan is
haven't
looking to
forgotten,
meet some
and
of
we
its
don't plan
energy
on
needs
forgetting.
using methane
You know,
hydrate
I don't know.
from the
I don't know if
sediment
we're
around the
capable
country.
of doing
The Japanese
anything
government has unveiled
because,
a
you know, the
deep-sea
majority are
drilling ship that's
disenfranchised.
about to start exploring.
You know, the ones that understand
The Chikyu
that
has advanced GPS and
our
control
ocean has
systems
been
that let it
severely
stay in
contaminated,
position even in rough seas.
and to rely
The ship
solely
will be drilling for
on the
methane
government to
hydrate
solve this
1,000
problem for
meters
us, you know,
below
we
the
could be
seabed.
waiting a very long
Methane
time
hydrate is an
while we start
ice-like
dropping off
substance
like
in which
flies,
methane gas is
and with
trapped
finger
in
pointing on the
water
side,
crystals.
you know,
Japan's
and
effort
then
to extract
nonprofit
methane
organizations
hydrate from the seabed
that are
is
like
the
well
first in the
established will
world.
be capitalizing off the misery, because that's usually how it works.
If we get this first step right, the development will
So,
go smoothly.
you know, I'm aghast as to what's going on. I can't imagine, you know, the poor children on the beaches right now playing, you know, the West Coast beaches playing along the shorelines without our governments taking seriously what could be coming in, you know, with the tide and the sand and the seaweed. And, you know, I was the other day, like about a month, 3 weeks ago, with somebody, and, you know, he was telling me, he was in his 82, right? He was telling me that, oh, don't worry, you know, don't worry. You have nothing to worry about, because the people that take care of that stuff, whoever that is, I don't know who he was referring to. I don't know if he was referring to the government, to the Navy, you know, to the federal government, provincial. But he felt, you know, that when the Derbis starts washing on shore, and if the shoreline starts to get contaminated, that, you know, it will be magically taken care of because our professionals have it under control, which, in my opinion, I think is a bunch of crock. But at 82 years old, why would you be worried? You know, you're not worried per se, right? You have faith in the system because you made it to 82. But, you know, what about the ones in 5-10 years from now when you're 92, if you make it to 92, right? And so, anyway.
Around those cans, it has boron in it, and that's designed to prevent a nuclear chain reaction from occurring in the pool. You don't want a chain reaction
Okay, we're gonna come
occur
back.
in the pool.